Darth Sidious, Emperor Palpatine watched his apprentice and Moff Jerjerrod exit the turbolift and climb the stairs to his throne on the Death Star II. For 23 years, Sidious had ruled the galaxy with Vader as his right hand. The fallen Jedi was a loyal servant, broken by his losses and physical injuries, and bent to Sidious's overpowering will. His corruption had worked perfectly. Senator Palpatine began grooming a 9-year-old boy. Chancellor Palpatine destroyed a teenage Padawan's trust in the Jedi Council. Darth Sidious exploited a forbidden love and a young man's fear of loneliness. Once his apprentice embraced the dark side, circumstances, unforeseen but welcome, forged an isolated, bitter, and violent Darth Vader. He strangled his pregnant wife and attacked his Jedi master. Unfortunately for Vader, his mentor cut off 3 limbs and left him for dead. Sidious saved his life and helped define his fearsome new character by providing an armored survival suit. But Sidious withheld information from his apprentice, and a son named Luke Skywalker with tutelage from the victorious mentor destroyed his first Death Star. From that point on, Sidious's visions of the future revealed potential for his defeat. Luke must be turned or killed. 1 year ago, Vader confronted his offspring with those ends in mind. But he disappointed Sidious by failing to accomplish either. With his trust in Vader shaken, Sidious's latest visions showed father and son before him. This exciting possibility seemed to coincide with his trap for the Rebel Alliance. Eternal rule was within his reach, and the Force pointed to Luke as the key. As Sidious's gaze swept the ongoing construction beyond the tower's windows, and the 2 ruling councilmen standing nearby, he reflected on the structure of his empire. He streamlined the Imperial command structure. From bottom to middle, the ranks and roles were clearly defined, a strict hierarchy. In the upper echelon, he intentionally left gray area to cultivate the ambitions and power struggles that fueled his meritocracy. The regional governors were a diverse group. Like Arinda Price, some were politicians. Like Wilf Tarkin, some were soldiers. The elite titles came with overlapping responsibilities: Governor, Moff, Grand Admiral, Director, Grand Vizier, Ruling Councilman. Strength of personality and nerve often decided jurisdiction. Access to Palpatine trumped all. An aura of mysticism surrounded many of his closest followers, including Darth Vader. Witnesses spoke of the Dark Lord's inexplicable powers, but the ancient Sith religion remained a secret of Darth Sidious's inner circle. The mysticism frightened most traditional Imperial officers, and fear was a useful tool for keeping order and measuring determination. So an eclectic group of leaders competed for recognition near the pyramid's apex. The differences, for example, between Darth Vader, Moff Jerjerrod, and Sim Alu were stark, yet all became extensions of Palpatine's will. His incitement of antipathy and competition among his most powerful followers accomplished 2 important purposes. First, it kept his underlings from uniting against him. They were too busy hating one another and contending for his approval to consider alliances. Trust was impossible in his environment of intrigue and deception. When necessary, Palpatine stoked their animosities by shifting favoritism, betraying confidences, changing titles and responsibilities, scapegoating and punishing unexpectedly, establishing rivalries, and other nefarious means. Second, it ensured a meritocracy based on his values for subordinates: loyalty, strength, and ruthlessness. When he observed complacency, he expanded the pool of candidates with promotions. When he observed inefficiency, he stepped back to allow attrition or culled the weakest himself. Individuals rose and fell, but their actions always served him. Though Darth Vader remained the Emperor's hand until the end, he was not exempt from his master's manipulations. By occasionally rebuking and reassigning him, Palpatine perpetuated the hope that another might supplant Vader one day. Numerous high-ranking servants continued to strive for Vader's coveted station, despite little to no understanding of the Sith or the Force. In truth, if he found a better apprentice, Vader was expendable, just as Dooku had been. Loyalty was a value for subordinates, not Sith masters. Luke had potential, so Sidious would conduct an evaluation and choose Vader or the younger man. The figures in olive drab and black approached, and Palpatine awaited their deference. Jerjerrod bowed his head. "What is thy bidding, my master?" hissed Vader. Compliance was an important reminder of the power structure for those demonstrating and regarding it, a ritual that properly framed every interaction from its beginning. Palpatine acknowledged the Death Star II's completion without preamble or gratitude. He did so by reassigning his apprentice and ignoring the station's commander. "Send the fleet to the far side of Endor, there it will stay until called for." "What of the reports of the rebel fleet massing near Sullust?" inquired Vader. The Dark Lord's mention of the intelligence showed he had focused on more than the battle station's schedule over the preceding weeks. "It is of no concern. Soon the rebellion will be crushed and young Skywalker will be one of us. Your work here is finished, my friend. Go out to the command ship and await my orders." The Emperor sensed disappointment in Vader. Perhaps his apprentice wished to join him on the Death Star or continue the search for Luke despite his assurance of their impending reunion. Vader suppressed the disappointment in an instant and replied, "Yes, my master." Palpatine turned to the councilmen as Vader and Jerjerrod took their leave. This 50-second scene was only the third appearance of Emperor Palpatine in the saga. It was only his second in-person scene since his first appearance was a hologram from The Empire Strikes Back. Viewers experienced his grand arrival on the Death Star 2 and learned he could use the Force to sense others' thoughts and the future. The relationship between Palpatine and Vader seemed strange from the outset. Vader towered over his master, who relied on a cane to walk slowly. Palpatine's face was obscured by his hood, but glimpses of gray, wrinkled skin gave the impression of age and deformity. The Emperor twice referred to Vader as my friend, but Vader's kneeling and reliance on the honorific master indicated an unequal power dynamic. The first prequel movie came 16 years after Return of the Jedi, so the characters' associations, their backstories, were unknown. Tension was obvious in this brief encounter. Palpatine acted dictatorially and dismissively. Vader's screen history suggested this approach would not sit well with him. The reason this scene is critical: by sending him away, Palpatine increased Vader's uncertainty. Here and in the ensuing scenes, the Emperor took his loyalty for granted. If Palpatine kept Vader close and appealed to friendship and allegiance, would the ultimate outcome have been different? At the climax, Sidious underestimated the predispositions of father and son because love was not in him. His excitement grew as he heard about Luke's twin sister and watched Luke unleash his anger. When he abandoned Vader to take Luke as his new apprentice, and seconds later resolved to kill Luke, Palpatine had once again pushed Vader away and taken him for granted. As Vader found the determination to rise and shuffle to his master's side, his uncertainty became the resolve of a father who needed to protect his son. And Palpatine, loveless and self-absorbed, never anticipated Vader's turn. Please subscribe and send your friends to this channel rather than banishing them to the command ship, and check out other Setting the Stage videos from Galactic Initiative.
Galactic Initiative is not authorized or endorsed by Lucasfilm Limited. The name Star Wars and all related materials are registered trademarks of Lucasfilm Limited, a subsidiary of the Walt Disney Company, all rights reserved. Galactic Initiative is a registered trademark, and other product and company names are trademarks of their respective holders. Use does not imply affiliation or endorsement.